Luciano here, head chef for Wyndham City Council. Today I'm making my favourite meal, which is a pub pie, and since we can't go to pubs at the moment, I'm bringing the pub to you. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, put your pan on the heat, bring that up to temperature, add a little bit of olive oil. Put in your onions, sweat them off, put your garlic in, throw in your leeks. Turn down the heat, add your carrots. Okay, so carrots are cooked through and they're looking nice and tender. Add your chicken. You can see that I'm like pushing that down and spreading that quite evenly out. And what I'm trying to achieve there is a lot of contact with the pan, because we're trying to get that nice caramelization, that nice browning effect. And that's going to take a little while, so we're going to leave that on there for a little bit. Okay, so that chicken now is nearly cooked through. So this is the time we're going to add the cream, our salt and pepper and our parsley, and we'll start getting our cornflour slurry ready to go. Now, as I was saying before, those onions have caramelized and leached some of their sugars. That's going to make our sauce nice and sweet, and we'll level that out with a bit of salt and pepper. So what the cornflour is going to do is just going to help it bind all that together so you have a nice thick pie filling. As you can see, the pie mix is quite wet, so this is where the slurry comes in. So what you need is corn flour. I'm going to start off with a little bit, so 2 tablespoons. Then you need cold water from the tap. You can whisk this together, but I find that hands are the best. So mix that with your fingers, and you'll find that it's quite thick at the bottom, and you'll work all those lumps out, and you'll end up with like a milky-like consistency. And that's what you're looking for. That's what you're chasing. Almost the same as coconut milk. Slowly add that to your mixture while you're stirring. So this will start thickening straight away, and that's what I was saying. You can always add more, but it's very difficult to take it out. So we work slowly now. So there's enough heat in that to keep thickening that. So let's just see how we go. Pie filling is good. It's nice and thick, as you can see. So when we cook that in the pie, it's not going to run everywhere, and that's the consistency we're chasing. Nice thick sauce. Pie mix is good. We want to actually cool that down before we put it into our pie shells, so it's going into the fridge. Next up, let's start working on the mashed potatoes. I'm going to take you through the way I make mashed potato, and it's going to be a really smooth, velvety mashed potato, super rich, lots of butter, lots of cream, and we'll go through that. And it's almost like the French method of pomme puree, which is basically mashed potatoes, but we'll take you through that anyway. Okay, so what we have is 4 large whitewashed potatoes in water, and we're going to salt that quite generously. Onto the stove, potatoes on, salted water. That should take about half an hour to get to where we want it to be, just soft enough to be mashed. Now, I'm sure you've all done mashed potato before, and everyone mixes in milk and butter and all sorts of stuff. But what we do in the industry is we heat up cream and butter together, and the reason we do this is we add hot cream to hot potatoes, and that way the potatoes don't shock and it absorbs it better, and we get like a really nice consistency. So that goes on the stove, and we gently bring that to heat and just get that all melted and all nicely mixed together. We're going to drain off the spuds, and then we're going to bring them over here, and we're going to start working them, adding our hot cream and our salt and pepper till we get to the desired consistency, and then we're going to pass them, and that's going to ensure that we have the smoothest mash you've ever seen. And you work it through your little strainer. That ensures that all those lumps are out. Do it while it's hot, don't let this cool down. You let it cool down, you're going to have forearms like that. Now it's time to work on the mushy peas. So let's get started. So peas into a pot, we've got to cook those off. Let's cover those with water, a little bit of salt on the stove. Nice big sprig of mint, because we want that nice minted pea flavour. So peas are on, we're just going to cook those until they're just tender. Then we're going to drain those off, add our butter, salt, pepper, and a dash of cream, and we're going to mash those up. Okay, so to speed up the process, what we're going to do now is we're going to start lining our pies. Now, I've got some short crust pastry, we use that for the base, and I've also got some puff pastry that we use for the top. Now, the reason we do that is we want a nice sturdy base, and we want the top to actually nicely puff up and be that crispy base, the crispy top that everyone's looking for. You can do this in any size you like. I've got individual pie tins for this episode, but you can actually do large tins or square tins. You can do any shape you like. So for this tin, I don't have a cutter big enough, so I'm going to improvise and use a plate you can use a bowl, you can use a bucket, whatever you have at home will work. So these are a non-stick tin, but always, I mean, I've come unstuck before, but always, a light spray. In goes your pastry, and I'm using my fingers to push it into the edges, and then I'm going to fold my pie shell outwards like that. Now, I know there's a lot of dough hanging on the outside, but that will all make sense once we put the filling in and the lid on top. So it's been half an hour and that pie mix is cool enough. Now the reason we try to cool that down a little bit is because you don't want to add a piping hot mixture into your pastries. It'll be quite difficult to work with. So as soon as the heat starts hitting that, it'll start to react and it'll start to soften. It'll be really difficult to seal. So that's cool enough to work with now. And what we're going to do now is scoop some mixture into our pies and just fill them just about 1 mil from the top. Now time for the tops. Improvised cutter, puff pastry, go around. Plonk that straight on top like that. Now, remember I said don't get rid of that overhang just yet? This is where it becomes important, right? What you want to do is take your hands and you want to squeeze them together like that until they fuse. So the best way to do this would be to pinch and fold. Pinch and fold, pinch and fold, pinch and fold. So as I'm pinching, I'm pulling up and I'm folding it back on itself. And it creates like this rope-like consistency. And in the beginning, you can be slow, but then as you do this more often, you'll get faster at it. So we're there, and then push it into the edges so it clings onto that pie tin. Then what you want to do is place a little hole on top, so grab your knife and just go like this, and that lets some of that steam escape, ensuring that your top stays on and doesn't blow off. We're going to brush that with some egg wash, and they're going to go straight into the oven. So my preheated oven, which is good to go, 180 degrees, 20 minutes, and we'll be having our pub meal. Pub meal at its finest. We have our mashed potato, so we're going to take a nice little dollop of that. We're going to go right there, right in the middle of our plate. Then we get our mushy peas. We're going to unmold our pies. Now there is a non-stick pan, so that should just pop straight out. So shortcast paste on the bottom, nice puff on top, just like this. There you have it, folks. My favourite pub meal. Does it stack up to my favourite meal? Let's go. That's amazing.